Hi guys, it's Rosianna here, and this is my TARDIS Technically reaction video to episode 11, Turn Left. And I'm going to start off, can anyone say happy dance? Because, Rose is back! You know when you love a character and then, if you watch it, until you watch her in a film, until you watch them in a television series, until you read them in a book again, you forget exactly how much you love that character. You forget how much they I love her. I absolutely love Rose. And this episode, I don't get why so many people are bitching online about how it's like a bad episode and how they were rated 2 out of 5. I'm sorry, Russell T Davies completely earned his OBE here, which by the way he's got. Congratulations! Oh my gosh, it was so clever. And Catherine Tate as well. Anyone had any doubts in their minds that she can act? That scene when she's in that circle of mirrors and she's telling, the first time she's like got the big stag beetle on her back, and the second time when she thinks that she's not going to die, oh, that was heartbreaking. And just as well, I mean, I know a lot of people hate her character for kind of her arrogance, but you know that there's something more. You know that through that jokingness, through her brashness, through her traditional donna as she stood up to the guy who fired her as a PA, you know that there's some massive insecurity there, and she's never felt valued. And it was heartbreaking to see her mother, who was amazingly acted as well. You could see the tiredness drawing down on her face. Her mother constantly cut her down, constantly tell her that she's not good enough, and she stood there and she took it, and it hurt her. And for everything that, for this harsh front that she puts on across, you know that it hurt her. The bit with the labour camps, I mean, I know a lot of people again are bitching about that, like why, you know, Britain wouldn't do that, but this is a situation of extreme desperation, and honestly it worries me slightly that I can actually see where that would happen, where everyone's become so weak and worn down that some sort of extreme force just takes power and says, right, this is what we're going to do. But it was so horrible. And Wilf in that scene, again, another amazing character. Donna is definitely my number 2 favourite, and I think she's on the same lines as Captain Jack, but I think I'm starting to like her more than Captain Jack. But maybe that's just because I haven't experienced Captain Jack in this series yet. And I'm sure that if I went back and watched other, you know, Series 1 or Torchwood and things like that, I would, again, feel that love and buzz for Captain Jack. But Rose will always be my favourite companion because, she's matured so much and she's become so much like the Doctor. She said, I'm so sorry. Oh, and she built a freaking time machine. I mean, hello, how cool is that? For anyone who kind of said, you know, casting off Rose as this character who was like stupid, vacuous and just vapid and superficial, and the only thing that controlled her life was her love for the Doctor. No, it didn't. It was propelled by that, but she was brilliant. Her humanity and her passion, everything was just so brilliant. The bit where she goes in and the unit person salutes her and she says, I've told you not to salute. And she wouldn't even know that that's what happened with the Doctor, I don't think. I don't see how she could know that the Doctor told people, you know, not to salute. And yet she is that person, and she's with things like the flux, the time flux, and it's, she's so, I love Rose. I'm sorry, this is going to be like a mix of incomprehensible squee, because I love that girl so much. Okay, I'm editing right now and I realised I didn't say how I loved how Rose didn't tell anyone what her name is. Hello, Doctor, again. Similarities? I think so. I know there's like sign of continuity plots for the reason why, you know, Karenites weren't taking over the world, the Daleks in Manhattan, because, you know, Martha wasn't there, for example, that she'd all been cut out. I know that's quite a big plot hole, but I'm kind of trying to put that past me and just ignore that, because it was really brilliantly executed, and it was amazing to see what the Doctor, what he does for the Earth in this fictional world. But I found myself, I told someone later, I found myself believing that he's here on our planet and he's saving us from having complete destruction. You know, it's a part of it. It just like twigs into reality, and that's the mark of truly great writing. But you had that deep tragedy, but then you had that undercurrent of superb humour that Catherine Tate injects into every one of her performances, and I think Russell is truly a master of. I mean, anyone who's seen Casanova would know that he's good with humour. But it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't unnecessary. It worked really well. What else? Oh, when we're doing this all the time. When Rose is describing the Doctor to Donna, and she talks about the hair, and it was some really great hair, and I thought it was really funny. I mean, a lot of people as well, if you're in the kind of David Tennant fandom, will know that he was on the Friday Night Project, the television show, and someone called Frankie asked if she could ruffle his hair, and we all just love his hair. His hair's awesome. His hair is like caps lock all the time. I'm just going to ramble on about Rose some more. The great thing about Rose was when she was sitting in that park bench. That's one of my favourite scenes. Everything's my favourite scene in this episode. I can tell by the time the week is out, I'm going to watch it. Have watched it so many times. When they're sitting on that park bench and she's talking about everything to Donna, and she's got that one single tear which is barely visible on her face, and she's just, her eyes just are amazing. Also when they're in the TARDIS and Rose puts her hand on the TARDIS and the TARDIS gives out a little hum, and you're like, oh my gosh, the TARDIS misses Rose. And Rose is, I have this crazy theory in my head that Rose is what's keeping the TARDIS going, because the TARDIS knows that there is hope, and that hope is Rose. Or Donna. Or both of them. But when Donna asks, were you two, that silence just says it all. Because it means that all the people who would like the Doctor to be this asexual being who has no romantic interest or whatever in any of his companions, it makes them that happy. But it really pleases me as being a person who thinks that the Doctor does love all his companions, but he loves them in different ways. And it doesn't mean that he loves Rose more than anyone else, but I think their relationship was different because of the regeneration that happened in it, and because of the way that they were torn apart as well. It doesn't mean it's above any other relationships were torn apart in different ways, but it's just mean that, I like that to be acknowledged. I'm going to run out of time before I can say all this. I might have to make another video with lines that I particularly liked. The thing about the beetle in the back is that I know that it looked kind of weird, but the sounds of it, and like when the one claw was peeking over, I thought that was the most effective part. I mean, when you actually saw it in the back, it did look a bit like a rucksack, but the whole idea of it was so cool that I thought it was great. Oh, you know what I haven't mentioned? The very freaking end with the bad wolf. How did I not mention that at the very start? I went online on MSN and went to all my friends who've watched Doctor Who and go, bad wolf, bad wolf, bad wolf. Oh my gosh. Oh, I thought the 2 words would have been something like Rose Tyler, or just, I never thought of bad wolf. I'm so thick. Yeah, bad wolf. I'm so happy, because that is who she is. She is the bad wolf. She's a freaking bad wolf, and she's going to come back, and that's her warning to the Doctor, and he knows that she's come back, and his eyes, David Tennant's acting. I know David Tennant has like 2 lines. They were some of the best lines in this episode, because his face just went, I wish I could act like that. I wish I could act like that, because his face was just the slow comprehension when he realises that Rose is back, and he's leaping up and running off. And the bad wolf everywhere with the boom, 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 boom. It's so creepy. And then the cloister bell when he goes into the TARDIS. Okay, next week preview trailer. Stop watching now if you don't like next week preview. Was so good. Jack, Yanto. What? Everyone. Sarah Jane, Martha. Everyone. I'm so excited. How am I going to contain myself? How? Although I've had some good news that I might not actually be babysitting on the night of the Doctor Who finale, which means I can have, like, freedom to watch it and cry to myself. I'm so excited for next week and the week after, and like everything ever. Okay, this is already over 10 minutes, so I should go now and then do some crazy editing, but you might get another video from me because I loved it so much, so then I'll do like I might do a video midweek of like me watching it through and telling you lines that I love, and generally, shoot, I've got to go, I'm running out of time, bye. Alonso, bad wolf.